We are off and running on this Thursday. Week 1 officially gets underway this afternoon at 4:30. 17 games tonight. Isn't that amazing? Should be fun. UAB tonight kicks off at 7:30 against Alabama State. Pregame show 6:30 as they take on the Hornets. Landrum Roberts on the pregame show. I'll be part of the broadcast as well. David Crane on the call tonight. Jacksonville State, they get kicked off at 6 o'clock down in Orlando in the Bounce House as they take on the national championship winning coach, Scott Frost. Sorry, Molly. Just can't resist that. It's just too easy.
Yeah.
That's at 6 o'clock for the Gamecock fans over in Jacksonville.
Well, UAB fans tonight, you want to get your pregame on, maybe your postgame. Well, maybe not postgame. They're at the Finnick. You can do it. You can do it all football season long. Auburn fans, get in there tomorrow for Auburn and Baylor. Alabama fans, Alabama and FSU on Saturday. All the college football you can watch on the massive screens, the video boards, the explosive sound from every seat in the house, and their new restaurant menu is certainly worth cheering for. You got wings that are going to win MVPs, wood-fired grilled burgers stacked like your favorite fantasy team. They got steaks. You want to go salad? You can do that. Fresh seafood, great fork and knife options as well. The Finnick's new 6-day schedule, it does include live acoustic acts Wednesday through Friday from 5:30 to 8, followed by live bands at 10 o'clock on Fridays. Saturdays, Sundays, and Mondays, they're dedicated to sports. No live music to get in the way. We can't wait to see you at the Finnick. Get in there this weekend. You'll see what I'm talking about to watch all of the football your heart desires. The Finnick, 1630 2nd Avenue South, near Railroad Park.
So I was reading the Tuscaloosa News this morning, and I told you yesterday that one of the writers for the Tuscaloosa News, he went ahead and published his prediction for the game. Colin Gay, he predicted 31-17 Alabama. This morning, Chase Goodbrad from the Tuscaloosa News, he predicted Alabama to win 24-13. So let's now go to our main man in Tuscaloosa. That is Rodney Orr from Tider Insider. Rodney, we have made it. We have made it to game week. It took so long, but we're finally here.
You know what? I told Conrad, I said, listen, it's kind of like if you've ever driven 700 miles and the last 30 or 40 miles is the longest of the trip, right? I mean,
You're right.
It seems like it's dragging. This week is dragging along. But, yeah, we're almost there.
We are almost there. Unfortunately, we have to address an injury just happening this week. Tim Keenan, he's going to be out. From the best that you've been able to ascertain, what is the expectation, the prognosis for Tim Keenan and his return to the Crimson Tide?
Yeah, I mean, I would think that based on some things I hear that maybe 2 or 3 weeks, we'll see. Maybe a tad longer. I guess it all depends on how this goes. Apparently, and I haven't heard anything official, but I know you guys have seen the same thing, the reports that it's a tightrope surgery. And if you kind of look at the history of it, we've seen a lot of those at Alabama, especially during the Saban era. And, Cam Robinson was a guy, I remember him having it. And, 2 weeks later, he played against LSU. So, again, I don't know the exact details in terms of when he'll be back, but I think it won't be too long.
Rodney, you have been very outspoken on this program, not in a negative way, but you have just pointed out the obvious that the defensive line front for Alabama was an area of concern coming out of the spring in regards to the way they're recruiting, the additions that they're trying to make in regards to the roster at that position. What does this mean, in your opinion, if anything, for this game against Florida State, having Keenan out on the defensive line?
Well, I think he's the one guy that, just in my opinion, you didn't want to lose. Number one is he anchors the interior part of your defensive line. You don't have a lot of proven depth. Actually, you don't have any proven depth. If you look at where they go from here, likely Jeremiah Beeman, redshirt freshman, he obviously doesn't have any experience or much experience, and then the experience behind him is limited. So then you're facing Gus Malzahn, who is going to attack that interior with the run game. So I think it's certainly a significant loss. It's a guy that you didn't want to lose. He's the heart and soul of your defense. He may be the premier leader you have on your football team. So from that standpoint, I think there's a lot of you'd have to be concerned.
Rodney, how has Alabama been trying to simulate what they're going to get from Thomas Castellanos, the talented multi-threat quarterback from Florida State?
Sounds like Jalen Mbakwe. It sounds like it. Just some things we've seen that he's emulating what Castellanos can do, which is very, very athletic. I mean, talking about Castellanos, he's a guy that moves around really, really well and dangerous on the run. He's slippery, and he's a decent passer at times. I mean, he's streaky. He can be really good sometimes, and then not so good at times. But I'll say this too. He was originally with us at UCF, and then transferred and spent the 2 years at Boston College. So, then now he's back with Gus. So they certainly he's a good fit for what Gus wants to do. And but sounds like Mbakwe's the guy kind of doing some of the emulating of Castellanos.
We were talking about earlier, maybe last week, we were talking to you about Jam Miller and the injuries on offense. How have the running back core, how have they been able to step up and the pecking order that you anticipate seeing on Saturday against Florida State?
Yeah, I think that's obviously a really great question because, you look at Jam and he's the guy with all the experience. I mean, just the rest of the guys in the pecking order, whether it's Richard Young or Daniel Hill, or Dre Washington does have, some experience at Louisiana, but not in the SEC and not at Alabama. Then you have Kevin Riley and A.K. Deere. Those guys are really limited in terms of their experience. And it's a great opportunity, obviously. But, I don't know which one of the two that I would probably pick to start, whether it's Richard Young or Daniel Hill. I do know this based on things I'm hearing. Daniel Hill's had a really good week or 10 days of practice, whatever, and here recently it's been very impressive in these practices. So, but I think we all agree that it's probably going to be a rotation, regardless of who starts.
Rodney Orr of Tider Insider joining us here on Three Man Front, as he always does, and he joins us on the Higginbotham Hotline. What are the expectations from your subscribers there at Tider Insider? What do you think is the most anticipated thing that they want to see in this game Saturday there in Tallahassee?
Yeah, I think really a few things. Number one is get off to a good start. I mean, some of the road games that Alabama had last year, you didn't see a good start. I mean, whether it's Vanderbilt or Oklahoma. I mean, obviously LSU was different, but Tennessee, they didn't get off on a very good start. I mean, obviously they had a penalty on the first play, and they struggled at times there. So I think number one is getting off to a good start, positive start on the road. And then I think, too, there's a lot of interest in seeing Ty Simpson. I mean, how far has he come? We've heard a ton of good things about him. Now let's see what he does when the bullets are flying. So I think that's really of interest. And I think defensively, just seeing how they defend Gus Malzahn and how consistent they are in terms of stopping the run, slowing those things down. And, I think those are some of the things in the pass rushers. I know that there's a lot of talk on my board about, who's going to be the guy that emerges as your big-time pass rushing threat. So those are some of the things that I think are really of note.
So before fall camp started, if there was one or two groups or even players that you personally wanted to see, okay, I've got a question about this, but I want to see how they perform in fall camp and see how they do and make a determination before those bullets start flying in Tallahassee, was there one particular group or player that you believe has improved or has kind of calmed down those worries that you potentially had with the offense or defense?
Yeah. Well, I think, obviously on offensively, I would say that, you have, if you look at the offensive line, there's a lot of, it's certainly been rated highly by a lot of these groups, whether it's Pro Football Focus. You want to see, did they go out there and take it to the field? Is Caden Proctor consistent? And I think at right tackle, you have, even though Wilkin-Formby has played, I know he's got a lot of potential. You want to see consistency there. So I do think that there's still some questions about the offensive line, and let's not forget Jaden Roberts is out. He's not expected to start, so Gino Vandermark's going to plug in. So you look at that, and I think certainly you want to see, and we mentioned this just a minute ago, does Ty Simpson, does he step up, and is he the guy that you're expecting him to be once the game starts? And so I think that's certainly of interest. And then I think, too, we can't forget the kickers. You're replacing Burnip, who is a really good punter, and I think Blake Dowd has had a good spring, and he's had a good camp, and I think they feel pretty confident he's going to be fine. Connor Talty's had some ups and downs, but it sounds like over the last week or so, Kalen DeBoer's really been happy with the way he's place kicked. So, those are certainly areas that could be concerns if you don't shore them up.
Have you played this particular matchup, Rodney, up through your mind leading up to Saturday? Game flow, how you think it could go, most likely will go. What do you think?
Yeah, and again, I don't really know what the weather's going to be. That could change a little bit. I mean, if we've got a lot of rain, it just could change things a lot. So that could have a bearing. But I do think that here's the thing, and this is me. Florida State has a lot of new faces. Obviously, a couple of new coordinators. Of course, Alabama has one too, Grubb, but the familiarity is already there with DeBoer. But you see so many new faces at Florida State. I mean, they've got 50 new players on the roster. They may be starting 4 transfer offensive linemen, a couple of transfer wide receivers, a transfer quarterback. They have a lot of new faces. I don't know if you can really have that, if you can mesh that quickly, for that first game. Well, I guess what I'm saying is this might be a really good time for Alabama in terms of catching Florida State. Now, because I think potentially Florida State down the road could be a pretty solid team, but it might be that you're catching them at a pretty good time.
All right, Rodney, before we let you go, I know earlier this week on Tighter Insider TV there in Tuscaloosa on Channel 23, you went ahead and gave your score prediction for those on the radio that may not have seen that yet. What is your final score prediction?
Yeah, so I went 30-13, Alabama. So I guess if you're asking me for the flow, Landrum, you know what? I think it could be a pretty competitive game for a while maybe, and I've got Alabama pulling away.
Rodney, we always appreciate the time. Thank you so much. Enjoy the game. Enjoy all of our friends at Tighter Insider this weekend, and we'll talk to you next week.
Guys, I appreciate it. Take care.
Rodney Orr, Tighter Insider, joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline. You deserve solutions that are built for you. Higginbotham's your one-source solution for insurance, financial, and HR services.
Well, we're stringing together some really nice days here as we get ready to enter into the month of September. And you need to take advantage of Abide Roofing's free no-pressure roof inspection while the weather is good. Because if you've got an older house and you've got some shingles that may be loose because all the storms that we've had this summer, you need to take advantage of Travis Lloyd and the outstanding local roofing team there at Abide Roofing. The number is 205-941-6223, or you can go to their website, abideroof.com. And if a storm that has come through and has left a soggy yard or maybe a tree that has fallen on your property, they can remove that for you. Abide Roofing is going to have your back during the storm season, especially as we go from warmer weather to cooler weather. We're going to get a lot of thunderstorms and some bad wind. So take advantage of the Abide Roofing free no-pressure roof inspection. They just want to be able to give you an honest assessment of what's going on your roof. And if you do have problems, just like I had, they can deal with your insurance company and they can take care of it. So whether you live in Vestavia, Homewood, Gardendale, Trussville, all over the metropolitan Birmingham, Central Alabama area, they're ready to help you today. Call them, 205-941-6223. That's abideroof.com.
We continue the conversation here on this Thursday. Continue to lead you up to kick off tonight's games, tomorrow's games, and previewing the big slate on Saturday and this weekend. 3-man front continues on Jox.
It is 11:18 on game day. That's right. Tonight, week one officially gets underway at 4:30 this afternoon. Boise is taking on South Florida and their Russian head football coach. Don't forget about that. He was born in Moscow. Not Moscow, Idaho. Moscow, Russia.
I think the people in Idaho, they pronounce it Moscow.
Moscow, not Moscow.
Mm-hmm. To try to create some distinction.
So if you joined us in the beginning of the show, there's been a little bit of, battle lines have been drawn with some of our listeners to the show. We have this office football pool that's very competitive, by the way, very competitive. And some of the folks at Social Taco, they wanted to be a part of it. And we said, sure, why not? So Hastings, one of the great listeners, callers, members of the Social Taco family, he entered into the contest. And then all of a sudden, Conrad started talking smack about how bad he was going to beat Hastings. And so then Hastings sent a text message that kind of went after Conrad. And then as we discussed it on the show, Hastings was watching Conrad's response. And Molly, now we have a new response from Hastings.
Oh, yes, we do.
Okay.
Conrad, are you ready?
Sure.
This is from Hastings.
Is this real?
Yes, this is real.
Okay.
No, this is real.
This is real. Seeing Conrad's eye rolls and sour body language when you bring up the beef just vindicated my response to his attitude. I was going to watch a few of his Mountain Brook games this year and be supportive, but now he's dead to me.
Oh, my.
I can't wait to take his money that he was going to use to watch the Taylor Swift wedding. I'm sorry, Paige.
Oh, wow.
That's a good response. I really can't. That was good. You could tell he took some time to formulate a response. That's
he did.
great.
He pulled over. He was headed to a sales appointment. He pulled over for that one.
And I really appreciate him putting the time into that.
Hastings has always got a nice golf shirt on. It's always tucked in, and he's got his slip-on loafers. I'm just trying to get people a picture of who hates Conrad.
Thank you, Landrum.
Well, there's a myriad of people that hate Conrad. So
I was about to say, yeah, get in line.
And by the way,
Apparently.
FSU Dave has chimed in, and he said your comment about Alabama being the greatest team in college football if they would have beaten Clemson and Trevor Lawrence, he wanted to remind you that the 2013 Florida State, the record margin of victory was 39.5 points.
Oh, man, against that rigorous ACC schedule that they had to play, right, Pat? Yeah, I'm sure that was brutal. Did they play Georgia in the conference championship game that year? No, they didn't. They played Duke.
They played Duke?
They played Duke.
Are you serious?
They did. Which, to be fair, I can't really say anything because that was the Kick 6 year, obviously, and Alabama was sitting at home for the national championship game. And that was a great Florida State team. But
now, hold on a second. They beat Pittsburgh. They beat Nevada. They beat Bethune-Cookman.
Oh, man.
They beat Boston College.
Loaded.
They beat Maryland. They did beat number 3 Clemson. They beat NC State. They did beat number 7 Miami.
Okay.
Beat Wake Forest. Beat Syracuse. Come on. On November 23rd of that year, they beat Idaho. Come on. Then they beat Florida. Then they beat number 20 Duke for the ACC championship. And then, of course, we all remember what happened as they beat the Auburn Tigers 34-31.
I just want to remind some people, it's just a fun trip down memory lane. And look, Dave's not going to agree with me, and I'm not going to agree with Dave. But in 2018, Alabama beat Ole Miss 62-7. They beat Louisville in the season opener 51-14. They beat Texas A&M 45-23. They beat Tennessee 58-21. They beat LSU 29-0. They beat Mississippi State 24-0. They beat Auburn 52-21. They did have a close one against Georgia. That's when Jalen Hurts had to come in and save the day in the SEC championship. But they beat Oklahoma by double digits and then obviously got blown out by Clemson. So that Florida State team was a great team. Alabama had a little tougher path in my opinion. But they didn't win national championship that year, so it doesn't matter. Florida State did.
Man. You're just making friends everywhere.
I love Dave, but I'm ready for him to be shut up on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
because he's got a big old can of whoop ass going to Tallahassee, and everyone knows it, and people are trying to convince themselves that it's not going to happen. No.
Wait, you just said a big old can of whoop ass is coming to Tallahassee? Is that what you just said?
Yep. From Tuscaloosa, Alabama.
If this goes wrong on Saturday for him.
How many S's are in Tallahassee?
2.
I don't know where we'd get the whoop, but yeah, you got that one covered. No, that's good. You're feeling really confident.
I don't know if
I
I've
am
ever
feeling
seen.
very confident.
I don't think I've ever seen, working with Conrad all these years, I've never seen him as confident in a prediction than this one.
Oh, he just planted the flag right there at the 50.
I mean, this isn't like a Connor Talty last-second field goal in a driving rainstorm.
No.
This is, we're coming to town, and as soon as we get off the bus, we're absolutely going to own you and make Gus Malzahn want to retire.
What if Gus does the substitution play and Alabama has too many men, and that's
Yeah.
how the game is decided and
Yeah.
Florida State wins?
The
That'd be
board can't get a
devastating, wouldn't
timeout.
it? That would be devastating.
Would there be a worse way for Alabama to lose, in your opinion?
Kick 6.
That'd be, yeah, for sure.
That would be a rough one. But no, I've had people for weeks telling me, "Oh, I can't wait for you to eat crow after Alabama loses the first time." All this, that, and the other, and that's great. I'm sure they'll lose a game this year, and I'll have to eat some crow. But it's not going to be on Saturday.
I honestly, I've not heard any Florida State fans say that it was going to happen on Saturday.
No, I haven't heard a single Florida State person say anything other than, "I think we might cover." Which,
So you
if that's
see-
what you're looking for, that's great. But
Well,
we're playing football. We're trying to win games here. We don't cover at Alabama. We win football games.
So I was looking at the Tallahassee, it's the old Tallahassee Globe Democrat. I think now it's just Tallahassee.com or
Do they have their score predictions?
not
out there?
Well, they haven't given their score prediction, but they did give how they think the game is going to go in regards to who's going to win and lose, but they did not give a score prediction. And the two writers for the Tallahassee newspaper predicted Alabama to win. No score yet, but both of the Seminole beat writers predict Alabama will win. Matter of fact, they said that they predict that for the season that Florida State will go 8-4.
Those beat writers right now are going, all right, what is a score that is realistic but not insulting to our subscribers? I love the confidence, Conrad, and you got Alabama fans fired up.
Yeah, I mean, that's great.
They are on the Conrad train.
I mean,
I feel good, man.
It's about time that you finally put last year behind you and started looking forward again, because the Oklahoma game just took a lot of wind out of yourselves.
Don't let 9-4 beat you again.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I won't. Look, I'm ready to move forward. The past is in the past, but I do feel bad for one of my friends who will be at the beach with us. He is also from Seattle, so he is not escaping the Jalen Milroe punishment, but that's in the rearview.
Is this the friend that doesn't like sports?
No. That's someone else.
They're not going to be there?
No.
Okay.
He won't be there.
But I will go back to something that Rodney brought up. Florida State has 49 new players on their roster. 49. They got 2 new coordinators. And on top of that, they've got 10 new players on their offense. So how will all those mesh together? And they might mesh together and they might be perfect. It might be incredible. But history will tell you, when you add that many new faces to a football team, it's at least going to take a while. I mean, you can practice all you want to, but until you get out there, as Rodney put it, and those live bullets are flying, it's a whole different animal.
That would be the time that I would add that UAB has 49 new players on their roster and 10 new players on their defense.
Probably a little easier to manage when you're playing Alabama State and not Alabama.
No, I was comparing to Florida State.
Oh, yeah, no, I know. I'm just saying in terms of what you're going up against. It gives you a little more room to get in a groove.
And also, I tweeted this out a moment ago. The National Weather Service is predicting an 80% chance of rain and thunderstorms that will last until the evening. So this is going to be,
Oh, there's a storm coming, Pat.
it's a red tide, right?
There's a storm coming.
Wait. All right, so let's go trend. How has Kalen DeBoer fared in weather games at Alabama?
Oh,
The Michigan game didn't go well.
No, that one was really bad. Did it rain during the South Florida game last year, or was that just bad because it was bad? I'm trying to remember if it rained. in
Yeah,
that one,
lightning
too.
delays, right? Or we're talking about
That was 2 years ago when it
That
was
was Buckner.
real bad.
Yeah, it was Tyler Buckner's
weather was really
moment in the
bad.
sun.
Yeah, it was just dark in the Oklahoma game. That one really threw him off. Just the night, just couldn't see. I'm trying to remember if there were any other weather games last year. I don't feel like I remember there being multiple weather games.
So what was that quote again? People are texting me.
Oh, the Hastings quote?
No, the quote from about whoop ass. What'd you say?
Oh, yeah. Dave's just got a big old can of whoop ass coming down to Tallahassee straight from Tuscaloosa. Yeah.
Oh, boy. All right. We're going to get to your text messages because many of you are firing in as we are here, folks. It's been a long summer, and we're finally here to week one. We're 24 plus hours away from Auburn taking the field against Baylor. Saturday at 2:30, Bama and Florida State's going to kick off tonight. UAB and Jacksonville State gets underway. It is here. We are so happy that you're celebrating this historic day with us here on Three Man Front. Give us a call, 1-800-239-WJOX. Courtesy GMC text line 205-834-9450. Rob Pate later this hour. Next hour, Brett Norsworthy. So much on this wonderful Thursday, Three Man Front. 11:33 here on Jox, 1-800-239-WJOX, courtesy GMC text line, 205-834-9450. Let's go to the phones, Conrad, shall we? And let's hear from the people as Don. He will join the program now. Hey, Don. Hope you're doing well on this Thursday.
Hey, guys, man, it's here. We got football at 4:30, everybody.
That's right, 4:30, Boise in South Florida.
Oh, and I got to have a little talk with Conrad here, Pat. If that's
Please
okay.
do. Please rein him in because he is absolutely losing his mind.
Well,
in the other
you know
room.
what? I spent Tuesday with Legend at an event they had, and Legend and Conrad both need to calm down. Legend says if a miracle happens and Florida State wins, he's moving out of the state of Alabama.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yes, and now Molly, if FSU wins, you get to paint Conrad's face for next Tuesday at Social Taco, right?
That is correct.
And Molly, speaking to you, I'll be pulling for your Nebraska Cornhuskers tonight. Go Big Red.
Thank you, Don. Go Big Red.
Hey, what time is that game?
8 o'clock.
Oh, you got to take a nap, Don.
Mm-hmm.
Well, no, I'm actually going to be working, but I got TV in there, and thank goodness YouTube didn't take everything off. Not yet, anyway. But Pat, I mean, I got a feeling Landrum too. I got a feeling that Sankey and the commissioner of the Big Ten said you better not. That was the biggest opening game in the last. What do you think, guys? Last 20 years.
There's never been a preseason number 1 and number 2 playing week 1. In one of the polls. So yeah, I mean it's a historic game. But the good news for those that are on YouTube TV, and I know you're not on YouTube TV anymore, Don, because you were telling us the other day that you're moved on to Spectrum.
I did Spectrum and a PSA. Don't ever go to Spectrum. It's nice. Don't ever.
Well,
I'm sorry.
Well,
say that over there, but don't ever go to.
Well, let me just combat that for a second, Don, because I don't have Spectrum cable, but I have Spectrum Internet, and they do a fantastic job for me. So. Well,
no, the Internet's fine and everything, and they did offer me free phone service, which I'm going to do. It was a good deal, Pat and Landrum. And hey, matter of fact, Landrum, I texted it in, but if you don't mind, let me go ahead and make my announcement about your beautiful place, Ramblers.
Yeah, go ahead.
We are having our Auburn watch party there. This Friday night, instead of at the Edge, the Auburn Club uses Ramblers as one of their spots, and back forward it gets so packed with Auburn Club. So me and everybody, including PG and some of the Social Taco game, Pat, I'm even letting good old obnoxious FJ come. Okay. Are
you really? Wow.
Well, I'll go ahead and tell you now. If he does this in front of Auburn people, he's going to get his butt whooped. Because this is an Auburn club, guys. I mean, and Landrum, I'm sure you know about that. But Ramblers does a great job, everybody. Everybody's welcome. I have invited a few Alabama fans, the ones that behave like Creed. Creed will come and behave, but there's some other people that I would not invite, okay?
Yeah. Well,
I think they know who they are out there. But Landrum Ramblers are a great spot. PG's coming. I hope Maria comes. And then Conrad, the big FSU party is on tomorrow with FSU Dave, and he made sure to tell me this morning, Conrad, that I'm not allowed to invite any Alabama fans.
That's all right. I don't think they'd want to go and watch the game there anyways, Don, but I hope you all have a good time with FSU Dave. He's going to need a lot of emotional support around 6 p.m. on Saturday. So keep the drinks flowing for him and give him a shoulder to cry on because he's going to need it.
Oh, yeah. It's me and Maria and PG are going down because, Conrad, I'm sorry, we just don't like y'all, okay?
Hey, I don't blame you. I wouldn't like us either.
Okay. But hey, Pat, I do have an injury question for Baylor. I read last night. I've been waiting to ask you all day. Is it true that they got 2 defensive backs hurt and not playing?
I do know they're banged up. I do not know and see whether that is official about that, but that is a concern for Baylor fans. Yes. So keep your eye on that. But nothing official, what I've been seeing.
Well, Singleton is going to play, but I think the biggest injury is that my field goal kicker, man. I'm worried about these field goal kickers, but I think the Southern Miss transfer is going to be our field goal kicker since McPherson is out. That kid last year, God bless him, tells me he's number 1 field goal kicker in the country, but he sure didn't kick like it, did he, guys?
Now, what's the punter's name again?
They do have a new punter. You know, they got that kid from Thompson, McGuire, but
No, there's a kicker
The
from
Australian
Australia.
one.
There's an Australian. What's
yeah,
his name again?
I actually don't know his name, Pat. Shame on me, but he is our new punter. Yeah.
You really don't? You don't know his name?
You don't know his name, Don? Don?
Shame on me. I'll tell. Hey, when I get down here to meet PG, I'll text it to you. Okay.
All right, sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you, Don.
All right, guys. Thank y'all.
All right, take care. Enjoy the games.
Can't believe he doesn't know the punter's name.
Well, he's been on a cruise.
I'm disappointed.
Let's cut him some slack. As the final depth chart came out, he was still in the water.
That's true. That's fair.
Internet spotty in the Caribbean.
Yeah. You never know.
You got to get news when you go to port, go into the city center and.
Yeah, that's right. Because the Womack news came out while he was on the cruise, and we were worried that he wasn't going to be able to find out about Auburn's big recruiting.
Mm-hmm. The big 5-star get.
Yeah, their big recruit. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of the SEC and the ACC, since 2015, that's a good body of work as an example. The Southeastern Conference is 64-44 against ACC teams. So they're 20 games over 500 since 2015. Tennessee's taking on Syracuse this weekend. They are 6-1 against ACC teams during that time frame. Alabama is 6-2 against ACC teams since 2015. And LSU, who is taking on Clemson, they are 5-2 against the ACC. So a little bit of SEC bragging rights at stake this weekend as those teams go up against ACC opponents.
That's right. Alabama hasn't lost to an ACC team outside of a national championship game in over 10 years. Not happening on Saturday either, Pat.
Okay, well, there's your confidence. This marks the first Alabama season-opening true road game since they played at Mizzou in 2020. That was the COVID year. But it's the
That
first
was a good year.
non-conference road game for Alabama to open the season. And this was a bad one, Conrad. I remember it well. We had an exciting show on that Monday when Alabama went to the Rose Bowl and played UCLA. Alabama was preseason number 3 in America.
And that would also be the number of games they won that year, correct?
It was a bad year. It was a really bad year. But they lost that game to the Bruins in the Rose Bowl 35-24, and it went south quickly after that. It was bad. Really bad. When we come back on Three Man Front, Rob Pate will join us, the former Auburn DB. We'll get his feelings on Auburn's opening game in Waco, Texas against the Baylor Bears. All that straight ahead here on Three Man Front.
11:45. It's game day. UAB, Alabama State tonight from Protective Stadium. We got ball kicking off at 4:30 this afternoon. Boise taking on USF, South Florida. And head coach Alex Golish. A lot of your text to get to, but Rob Pate scheduled to join us, as he typically does on Thursdays, to break down tomorrow night's game in Waco, Texas, between the Auburn Tigers and the Baylor Bears. In case you missed it, we had some line movement early in the show. Pat Smith pulled it up. I'm not sure which particular service he was using, but it was 2.5 yesterday with Auburn as a road favorite. It has dropped down to 1.5 points.
Still 1.5.
What does that mean? We don't know. But a lot of people thinking this will be a close game. Mm-hmm. We've heard from Auburn fans that think that Auburn will not name their score, but kind of have their way and take over late in that game. But it should be a fun night in Waco outside of the Brazos.
I think, personally, that Auburn is absolutely going to have an easy win.
What leads you to believe that? Is it just gut?
Questions in the secondary for Baylor. I think Auburn's defense, especially their secondary, I think they're going to make it problematic for Baylor to score a lot. I think Kendrick Falk is just going to have an incredible year. I think he's going to be just dominating. I think Auburn is going to look really good tomorrow night. I think you're going to come out of that game, and a lot of people nationally, I think Auburn will be one of the big stories over the weekend. Again, could be wrong.
Yeah.
That's just the way I feel the way the game is potentially going to go against Baylor.
Well,
I think those that are going to go to Waco, I think you're going to have a nice time.
It seems like through everything we've heard, and it's just talk, you got to do it on the field, but through the roster, acquisitions, depth, returning depth, guys that are familiar with it, maybe Hugh Freeze doing a deep dive and a self-examination after the last 2 seasons, but especially after last year and some games they should have won, that they're going to be dialed in and they're going to be ready. I'm like you. I don't know if it's an easy one for Auburn, but I like Auburn in this game.
I definitely like Auburn in the points.
Well, yeah.
I definitely like that. I mean, I'm thinking Auburn by at least a touchdown.
Okay.
At least. I mean, I think that they're going to absolutely impress a lot of people tomorrow night.
205-834-9450. We do have a ton of texts coming in, some of them directed towards things that came up earlier in the show, like Conrad, and now we have Bama on Bama crime. Hastings, big Bama fan, Alabama grad. Conrad, big Bama fan, Alabama grad.
Well, I mean, it started because Conrad ran his mouth about Hastings in the office football pool, and to Hastings' credit, I mean, he's just defending his honor.
Yep. And several texts coming in about that particular subject. This one is just directed at Conrad. Lugnut, as he's affectionately known, because of the tire changing incident, or the one that didn't happen. Lugnut is the poster child of why everyone hates Bama fans. I don't think everyone hates Bama fans. Come on. Greg asking, does anybody know if it's going to be available on YouTube TV? Yes, it is. The Auburn game.
Mm-hmm.
In case you missed it, they have temporarily settled their squabble, YouTube and our friends at Fox. So you will not have to get the antenna, but it's always a good idea, as me and Pat stated, for several reasons, to have that.
That antenna.
Antenna. Right?
Yep.
JJ says Conrad is correct. Ring the alarm. There's a tidal wave coming from Tuscaloosa, Alabama, and it's going to crash down on Tallahassee, Florida, and leave nothing but desolation in its wake.
Ooh.
Woo.
Desolation.
Desolation. Bama's defense is going to surprise everyone and stand strong and get their first shutout of the year and win 28-0. Auburn does what Auburn does and chokes. Loses 24-17. LSU loses 28-21.
I think it's a real big problem for LSU this weekend.
Drake, big Florida fan, says, I just want to know, Conrad, if Florida State beats Bama, how mad are you going to be? Conrad is not in the room right now. He's working on something else. But, Pat, where would you say? Would it be more anger for Conrad, or do you think it'll be basket case sucking the thumb?
Well, I will just say this. The alcohol sales in Destin, Florida will probably be spiked if Alabama loses, because that's where he and his lovely bride are going this weekend on a couples trip. So, yeah, I think.
And that's saying something if there's a spike in Destin, Florida on alcohol.
Yes, especially during an SEC football season. But, yeah, I feel like this would be a historic meltdown for Conrad. I'm glad Paige will be with him to bring that emotional support that he needs.
Well,
because it will be historic if Alabama is a 13.5-point favorite, goes on the road with the roster that, according to 247 Sports, is the number one roster in college football in talent, and you lose to a team that went 2-8 last year with 49 new players on their roster, yeah, there's bigger problems in Tuscaloosa.
2-10.
Yeah, 2-10. I said 2-8.
Don't short them the 2 losses, Pat.
Yeah.
It was historically bad for that program. Going back to Conrad's statement where he doubled down, Bama fan chiming in and saying, and Conrad just jinxed the ever-loving F word out of us. Thanks, pal. He can't win for losing.
All right, so Rob Pate just texted me.
Okay.
And unfortunately, there's an area at Auburn that we have issues with reception with Rob. So he apologizes in regards to the reception. He says Auburn wins 31-21. Auburn's defense creates havoc and wins the turnover battle. If Auburn loses their turnover battle, that's the only way I believe we'll get beat. So that's Rob Pate calling for an Auburn victory 31-21. Auburn's defense has a big night, and the only way that an upset happens and Baylor wins is if Auburn loses the turnover battle.
Text him back and ask. I'm just kidding.
Oh, so you just want me to do the interview via text? Yeah. Is that what you want me to do?
Yeah, that's a new way to do it. I appreciate it, Rob. Sean chimes in. He says he has zero confidence in Alabama this weekend. For the year, if I'm being honest, and it all starts with the fact that I have zero confidence in the head coach. I didn't when they announced his hiring, and it got worse last year.
No, I'll just tell you this, and we've been there before. I know some Alabama fans remember it, or they try to at least forget about it. But I'm telling you, if they lose this game as almost a 2-touchdown favorite in Tallahassee, Florida, we're having a completely different conversation. First off, it doesn't mean that the season is over with, but now you're starting to see a developing trend with Kalen DeBoer as your head coach in Tuscaloosa, and it's very, very troublesome. And when you've got to go on the road to Georgia later in the season, we're having a completely different conversation Monday. Not only about the fact that everyone that predicted Alabama, including Trey Wallace, potentially would be playing for a national championship. Now you're starting to talk about what kind of buyout numbers Kalen DeBoer has. Do you disagree?
No, you're spot on. You're spot on.
Now, do I think that's going to happen? No. But I just want to say it might be worth listening to the radio on Monday if that does take place.
You cannot lose to the unranked opponents.
No.
Can't do that. Cannot do that.
Not when you have the schedule that you have in the Southeastern Conference.
Since you're going to be luxuriating at the beach with your bride this weekend, and on Monday you're not going to be here for arguably the most important show of the year. Will you be calling in even in the event of an Alabama loss?
Yeah, no, I was going to tell you if you want me to call in on Monday, I'm happy to.
If they lose, I absolutely want you on.
Well, I'm sure you do. Yeah, I'm happy to do that.
All right, so Rob Pate, normally on at this time, some phone issues, but he's been texting me. He said Auburn wins 31-21. He adds a little bit more context to his prediction. He says Auburn's offensive line will be the difference maker. Over 150 combined starts. In college football, over 100 starts for an offensive line almost equates to 10-win seasons. Should be a successful group at Auburn. So once again, Rob Pate saying Auburn 31-21 against Baylor.
I hear you, Dr. Pate.
That's a great stat. I did not know that stat.
If I remember that stat correctly, number 1 in the SEC as far as combined starts, number 7 in the country.
In college football, over 100 starts for an offensive line almost equates to a 10-win season. So, there you go.
Get your toilet paper and your dude wipes ready.
Yeah. Should be a fun night
Throw
tomorrow
it
night in
all.
Waco. We're halfway home on this week 1 opening night. We'll talk to Brett Norsworthy. He will join the program coming up at 12:30. Your calls, your texts on this beautiful Thursday on Jox.